Hey everyone, welcome to the Rock Shop with Ralph. Tonight, I have someone that's recorded and toured with three of the top guitarists in music today. He's recorded and toured with George Lynch, George Lynch with Lynch Mob, Ace Frehley with his solo band, and most recently, Jakey Lee with Red Dragon Cartel. Let's give it up for Staten Island native by way of what, Pennsylvania?
Well, yeah, now I'm in Pennsylvania.
Anthony Esposito. What's up, brother?
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure.
All right. And how about this? You're not going to question my New York accent.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm home.
I know, right? It's funny.
I'm going there. Actually, it's my mom's 80th birthday on Saturday. So Sunday, I'm going out to dinner with her. So I'm going to head back to the island on Sunday.
Where in the island? That's where I am. I'm in Smithtown.
Yeah, my mom. No, the island, like Staten Island.
Oh, Staten Island. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's the other island. Okay. I got you. Yeah. Well, the Queens boys and the Brooklyn boys, a lot of people moved out to the island now. But anyway, how you doing? Everything's okay?
Yeah, everything's great. You know, dealing with this COVID crap, but whatever.
Yeah. And I was going to mention in the intro too, let's put mixer and producer in with the bassist.
Because yeah, why not?
Absolutely. You run your own studio now called Obscenic Arts in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania.
Dillsburg is the center of the universe. Dillsburg, Pennsylvania.
There you go. See, I got that word right.
Yep.
We were joking around before we started that I called the Red Dragon Cartel album Patina instead of Patina. So we got that right. But anyway, so Staten Island native. All right, that's great. I like to know 1991 or 1991. How did you get that gig with Lynch Mob?
Actually, it was like 1989 that I got the gig. I was 22 years old. I was bussing tables for a living. I had dropped out of college and my parents wanted to kill me. And I was bussing tables. And I was playing in a band that was put together by Steven Sprouse, who's a fashion designer. And I met an A&R guy from Atlantic by playing in that band. He told me about an audition for a band that he had signed to Atlantic. And I went through the audition process and they narrowed, it was like 70 bass players. And it was down between me and this other bass player. And the other bass player had a resume at the time and I didn't. So I didn't get the gig, but he lived in LA. So they asked me if I would mind sticking around for a week to audition some other drummers for them, which I did. So in turn, one of the publicists at Atlantic said, do you play in any bands or whatnot? So I told him about this band I was playing in, and we were playing the China Club and in New York, in Manhattan at the time. And
been there many times.
They came down and saw me playing in that band, and they said, "Look, your band's bad. Your band's horrible, but you're really good. Like, can I help you out?" So they got me a bunch of auditions all on the West Coast, and Lynch Mob was one of them. And I got the gig, and I picked Lynch Mob. I passed all the auditions in all the other bands as well, and I picked Lynch Mob because it was an equal split. It was like equal share of the writing, equal share of the merch, equal share of everything. Everything was split equally 4 ways. So that's why I picked Lynch Mob. Not to mention, I thought that it was a great band, and I really liked the direction they were going, which turned out to be Wicked Sensation.
Wow, and you don't hear that. I mean, especially, you hear stories about George Lynch. He has a big ego and all this stuff. I don't know him personally, and I'm not saying he does. All I'm saying is that's amazing that you get a 4-way split coming right out of the gate as a relatively unknown.
Well, he was going through him and Mick, because Mick was the drummer. He was also in Dokken. At that time, They were fighting over the band name, and it got ugly. And I don't think that Dokken was equal split. So right. I think George wanted to just go the equality route. And this way, people don't fight for their parts. Writing, the best part wins, and nobody's really worried about ulterior motives when it comes to songs,
And I gotta say, I love that album. It's part of my growing. I was 20 years old. And I gotta say, most people know you and the band from Wicked Sensation. That was like the big hit. But chart wise, the bigger hit was River of Love.
Yeah,
and you wrote that song.
Yeah, I was co-writer on that.
Yeah.
But the second album, the first single, Tangled in the Web,
yes,
was actually bigger than both of those. And we couldn't tour. I remember that song was like top 15 single, and we couldn't tour because George was in the studio doing his solo album, which kind of sucked. I mean, we had a big hit and we couldn't tour on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was jumping a little bit ahead, but I wanted to mention that so Wicked Sensation was like a major hit. You guys are off and running. Oni Logan is the singer, you, Mick, and George, and then you have River of Love, and you're out, you're touring. Who'd you tour with at the time with that album?
Well, we did a very, very long tour opening for Queensryche in Europe. And that was like for months. And It was amazing. It was sold out wherever we went. We were playing like hockey arenas wherever we went, because they had Silent Lucidity was
Empire,
one, and we had Wicked out at the time. So it was a great bill. And it was the first time that they got to play Operation Mindcrime in its entirety with the actors and everything.
Yeah.
And it was a really great tour to be part of. And then we came stateside and we headlined our own stuff for a while. And then we jumped out, we jumped out with Cinderella on the Heartbreak Station tour. And we did that run for a while. And then I think George chose to shut it down because he wanted to make a singer change.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that you had Oni Logan originally. And then you went to fellow New Yorker, Robert Mason.
Actually, Jersey.
Yeah, well, he's been around New York, but yeah, we can we can say that. But what happened with that? I mean, is something you want to talk about as far as what happened with the changing of the singers?
Well, I mean, it got pretty ugly between George and Oni, and I don't know technically if Oni quit or George fired him. I wasn't there when that went down, but it was like the last show we did with Oni was that in-concert TV show that was on Friday nights. I think we did 2 or 3 songs for that. And I remember Oni knew before that gig that he was
getting canned.
Yeah, and he still did a great job, But
right.
So then Robert came out, and I mean, it's documented. Like Oni had problems singing live, so we wanted to try to kill Robert's voice. So we booked something like 12 shows in 13 days or something ridiculous like that before we told him he could be in the band. And we wanted to see if we could kill him on tour. And he's a machine. I mean, he just got better and better as we played on the shows. So we went with him, and after that little run, we started writing the second record.
Yeah, which was just titled Lynch Mob, and you had Robert Mason on there, and it had the hit single Tangled in the Web, which I was like, wow, this is great, And then, of course, it seems to be a running theme with a lot of the guests that I have, Anthony. Grunge hits, and then all fucking hell breaks loose.
Well, grunge actually hit. We released Wicked the same year as Nirvana, Nevermind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, had we released Wicked 2 or 3 years earlier,
and that's
different,
I know, and I say that if you look at my interviews in the past where I said it to Greg Chason, who you replaced, he was on the show. In Badlands, underrated band from that era, got screwed by them. Johnny Gioeli in Hardline, he was on, got screwed by grunge. I can go on and on. The list goes on and on. If those albums were just released 2 or 3 years earlier, your lifestyles would have changed and everything would have changed. But, we live and we learn, and we can't, this is the cards that were dealt, just like we're dealing with now with COVID.
It was kind of the same thing that happened in the 70s when you had bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes and Genesis. And then the Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Ramones came to town and sort of stepped on it. And it got a little too bloated, and punk rock came in and stabbed it and deflated it.
But it came and left quick.
Metal.
It came and left quick.
Metal.
I know you're a big punk fan.
Yeah.
But I'm saying punk came and left quick. Grunge was around for a while.
I mean, if you look at it, so did Seattle. Seattle didn't last as long as metal. It didn't last. It probably lasted like half a decade.
Yeah, maybe I would say, yeah, I'd say probably 6-7 years. But I mean, listen, I mean, but by that time, look what happened to the bands. Some guys were working at car washes.
It was time for a change of the guard. And I mean, metal had gotten very bloated. Metal had gotten very all about ballads and like,
the power ballads.
Out of the edge, you know?
Yeah, I agree there. Definitely those friggin' power ballads. See, everybody was coming out with a power ballad. But so after a while, you decide, and George decides to fold the band. He goes back to Dokken, and
I quit first because he wanted to fire Robert and get another singer. And I was like, every time we did interviews, because George and I would do almost all the interviews for the band back then, the first question the interview would ask would be, when are you going back to Dokken? And I told him, I'm like, we can't have 3 singers on 3 different albums. And it looks like your solo project until you go back to Dokken.
Right.
It would start out as a band, all for one, one for all, everything split equally. I'm like, you got 2 choices. Either stick with Robert or get Oni back. I go, because if you're going to go for a 3rd singer on the 3rd album, I'm out of here. And he wanted a 3rd singer.
Which he did go with John West, but they didn't record.
No, John West was a filler. We did this. We got together again in like 1997. And we did this
98, yeah, with that album. What's it called? Ziggy? Ziggy.
I have no idea. George named it. I don't know what the hell that means.
I have no idea either.
But it was basically a demo because Elektra, after I quit, Elektra was looking for a reason to drop Lynch Mob because Seattle had taken over. So Elektra dropped the band. So we did Syzygy, the 3 songs, as with the original lineup back together as basically a demo to try to get another record.
Another deal.
And then we booked some tour dates. Last minute, Oni says, I don't want to do the tour dates. Then George calls Robert. Robert's like, I'm tired of being the second call.
Right.
I don't want to do the tour dates. So, and Mick also said he didn't want to do the tour dates. So George and I didn't have a drummer, didn't have a singer. We had all these dates booked. Literally, we found John West 2 days before the first show. We rehearsed with him 2 nights and played live.
Wow.
And we got the drummer from, I had a band in New York at the time that I was singing lead. It was called Pure 13. It was my band in New York. And we got my drummer, Bobby Ray, to play drums on that tour.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So after all that drama and everything goes, you wind up with Ace Frehley, and you wind up. How did you get that gig? Because that's what I really like to know.
Well, Ace and I had a mutual friend who was affiliated with the Angels, and this person told me, "You need to meet Ace," and he told Ace, "You need to meet Anthony." And I was sober at the time. I'm not sober now, but I was sober then. And so I went up to Ace's house and we met and we played a little, we jammed, and we had a lot in common and we felt really friendly with each other. It was good. So we decided to pursue that. And he had all these digital recorders with all these song ideas that he had accumulated over the years, whether it's Hotel Rooms with Kiss, whether it's, him on his couch, whatever. And he asked me to co-write with him. And I told him, I'm like, Ace, you haven't made a solo album in like 20-something years. I'm like, the fans don't want to hear shit from me. They don't give a shit about where my head's at. They want to hear everything you have. They want to know where your head's at. They want to know what's going through your life right now. I was like, I'll help him. I'll help Ace organize his thoughts and organize the ideas and put the songs together with him, but he's got to write it. And so we agreed to do that, and we started putting Anomaly together. And I helped put a band together. I had a bunch of people audition and stuff. I brought people in. I brought Scott Coogan in. I originally brought Jason Hook in to play guitar from Five Finger Death Punch. He had just finished his run with Alice Cooper, playing guitar with Alice Cooper. It was before he joined Five Finger. So the original band that I put together was Scott, me, and Jason Hook. But the whole thing was that Ace was going to play all the guitars on the record. So Jason had to work. So that's when he went and joined Five Finger Death Punch. But so we wanted Ace to get back to really shredding and killing and being Ace. So we booked this tour. We called it the Rocket Ride Tour. And we sort of blew the dust off it. And then we went back and did the record.
Well, I got to tell you, now you can see my room. I am a huge Kiss fan. And I feel that is Ace's best solo album, period. It really,
to be honest with you, I love 50% of it. I like 75% of it, and I hate 25%.
Really? So let's go through the songs.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the songs. You tell me if you like them, love them, or hate them.
Okay.
First of all, you were hired, before I say the songs, you were hired, first of all, you had a studio called Schoolhouse Studios where the album was,
we did the record.
Where the album was recorded. And you also were his tour manager. You mixed the album, right? And you were the bass player on the album and co-writer.
I wouldn't say co-write. Ace wrote the whole thing. And as far as like engineering, I didn't want to engineer the record. So when we went in my studio, it was Anton Fig on drums, me and Ace, and we had gotten Jay Messina to engineer, who did Destroyer.
Yeah.
And also he was Jack Douglas's engineer. So he did
with Aerosmith.
Like, the first 5 Aerosmith, 2 Cheap Thrills, like he's done everything.
Right.
And I had just been in my studio with Jack doing the New York Dolls. So I was like, let's grab Jay to engineer, and you, me, and Anton will just bang the songs out.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I could talk Ace all night long. I know we have limited for time, but I want to go through some of the songs.
Okay.
Like I said, as far as albums go, his first one held dear to my heart because I was a kid. But this one, 20 years later, is by far my favorite. The ones going forward, we'll go. I'll say that. I mean, they're not as good as this one. But I'm going to throw some songs at you. My favorite song on there, and you tell me if you like it, love it, or you hate it. It's a Great Life.
I like it. It's not. I always heard when we did that. I thought I thought he should sell it to Mick Jagger. Like I heard Jagger singing that.
Yeah, it means something to me because I felt, and I'm not questioning his sobriety if he was sober or he wasn't sober during the record. He was.
He definitely was.
Okay, so that's why I felt dear to my heart. I'm like, you know what? Ace has got it together, man. He wrote that song, and if you listen to the lyrics, he's speaking from the heart. You know, it's a great life if you don't weaken. I pay a high price for all I've done wrong. I love those lyrics. Love those lyrics. So, all right.
Okay, wait. Let me tell you right off the bat. Pain in the Neck, Genghis Khan, Sister, Foxy and Free, which is originally called Hard for Me. And
that was with Sebastian Bach, right?
I don't know why the hell he changed the lyrics.
Yeah.
Foxy and Free. And originally Space Bear was called Skells because he has a really good friend named Mike the Hat. And Mike the Hat is an EMT. And he always would have to rescue like heroin addicts and stuff on the street. And they were known as Skells.
Yeah, well, so cops call them too.
I don't know why the hell it got called Space Bear. It's the baddest ass lick that Ace ever wrote, I think. And now it's got like a cartoon title to it.
Right. And why does it say dedicated to Tom Snyder?
No, well, because he did the interview with Space Bear. with Kiss around Dynasty.
Yeah, well, that was the whole thing when he was laughing and him and Peter were going crazy.
Yeah. We had Space Bear on that.
So those songs, you love them, you're saying?
Love them.
Okay. What about Too Many Faces?
It's okay.
All right.
You gotta understand, when I went to Ace, I told Ace, let's make a kick-ass rock record. Let's go in there. They want to hear the Parasite licks. They want to hear Ace Frehley lead guitar.
Right.
Riff. So like all the songs that are like Little Below the Angels and all the lighter, wimpier stuff, I didn't like. I wanted to be heavy, like the Pain in the Necks and the Hard for Me and Sisters Badass.
Yeah.
You know, like I wanted heavier ones.
Right. Now you mentioned the best lick he ever wrote. I always thought Fractured Quantum was a really, really great lick.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that one.
Well, that was the instrumental at the end. You know, he does the fractured.
I didn't play on that one.
Yeah, it's just basically a lick, but yeah. So I mean, you got any? I mean, I have to ask you this: you got any crazy Ace stories you want to tell before we move on?
I mean, every day with Ace was. I mean, we were bros. Like we would ride our Harleys and we'd go to Yankee games. And then we'd go down to like Atlantic City and see like Velvet Revolver. Like we were bros. Like I remember one time he had like a 2-seater 450 SL Mercedes up on blocks. And it had been in an accident or something. But God knows when when was the last time it was turned on?
Road ready.
So he wants to go to the supermarket to buy sushi of all things. Like you're gonna buy. He was on a salmon kick. He was really thin when we did the Rocket Ride tour, and he was only eating salmon. It was like salmon diet all the time. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, so we go to jump in the car, and he goes to turn it on, and the thing like very slowly turns over, and then all of a sudden this was like January, so it was freezing, and we were in Ossining in his house. And he turns on the car, and all of a sudden the engine starts, and there must have been a family of raccoons that were living in
right? They keep him warm.
But the smell of death that came through the heater, we just left the car running and just jumped out of the car, and we were like, it was disgusting. But anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually work on cars, and that's happened many times. The cars I worked on, there's rats or squirrels. They go up. Cat. Sometimes a cat gets up in there, try to stay warm. You turn the car on, and that's it. It's done.
This was raccoons.
Yeah.
But then another time we went. I won't get into this story, but another time we went to the local pizzeria, and we're sitting at a table at the local pizzeria, and we're eating our slices. And he gets a call from Gene's producer of the show, the Family Jewels, show, about doing the roast. So, and then he says his thing, and then Paul calls him, and then Peter calls him, and we're sitting in a pizzeria in the middle of Westchester, and I'm seeing this whole Kiss thing unfold, and Peter goes no. And then Paul goes no, and then Ace calls the producer back and just lays the terms that he wanted to do it. And
I want to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
I want $100,000.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I don't give a shit. Fuck they want me. I'm gonna get $100,000. Fuck that shit. But I mean, listen, these are the stories I want to know, man. I'm a huge Kiss fan, and you were there. You lived it.
The voice is good.
Yeah, I could actually hold my own with some voices. Yeah, but yeah.
We used to do readings from the Book of No Regrets with the band, and the crew would have to read from it in his voice.
In his voice? Was he there? Was he present?
No, that was when he was flying. He wasn't on the bus yet.
Cool. So now I gotta ask you, what happened? Why did you leave? What was the purpose?
I got fired over a case of beer.
Because he was sober and you were drinking?
No. Well, I was drinking at that time. But the thing was, at that time, he was with Rachel. So everything
Gordon.
changed. Everything changed once he started going with Rachel. So he would never be on the tour bus, and he would basically come before the show. And most of the time we did the meet and greets before the show. And then after the gig, he would go right into a car and go back to the hotel. So I got tired of everybody in the band and the crew having to go wait in line at the venues and pay for beer. So we used to get pizzas on the bus after loadout. So I said, I was tour managing, so I put a case of beer for the band and crew on the bus with the pizzas because I knew Ace would never be there. So somebody ratted me out because Ace never looked at the rider. Somebody ratted me out, and Ace called me into his hotel room and was very pissed off that I put it on. He goes like, don't you know that they published on the internet these riders, and Gene and Paul are going to see that there's beer on the rider and they're going to think I'm drinking again, you know, because he was trying to get back for the
Trying to
music.
want to get back and quit Kiss.
Yeah. And I understand it. And he was right. I was an employee. I should have asked permission. But I mean, give me a warning, you know, don't just,
Right.
I was doing everything, like tour managing. I was merch. I was doing everything, you know, putting everything on my credit cards, hotels. And
he just cut you off like that?
Yeah, he just fired me cold like that.
Wow. And you haven't spoke to him
That was the thing
since?
that hurt me the most, because I thought we were bros, and all the stuff that I did above and beyond. And I always did everything Ace first. I never put anything before Ace as far as any decisions I had to make or whatever. And I actually thought that I had the whole live show and the whole team. I made it pro. I thought it was a professional live show. We had a lighting director. We had backline with the blue plexi. We had the backdrop. We had walk-on music, and it was like a show.
Right.
The band wore the flight suits, you know, with the lightning bolts on them. And like, I just thought, for all that I did, I could have just got a warning. And
Yeah,
that was the one thing that kind of like stuck me, you know.
Wow. Well, let me ask you, do you think anything happened leading up to that, and that was the straw that brought the camel's back, or you can't think of anything?
I don't know anything firsthand. People have told me things that they thought that actually was the reasons, but I don't know them firsthand. And you know, I don't know. It wasn't anything that I did. No money ever went missing. Nothing. I never did anything unprofessional. And I wish if it was something that he would have said that.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's weird. It's a hard pill to swallow that after 7 or 8 years with him and doing all that shit over a case of beer, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Have you spoke to him at all since?
Yeah, we text all the time.
Oh, so you're on speaking terms with him?
Texting, yeah.
Texting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I won't ask. I won't ask. Is there any possibility? Because that's like just a stupid standard question everybody asks in interviews. You ever going to get back with him? You know, I'm not going to say that.
I think he's really happy with his present band.
What Gene's band?
I think that he's happy with it, and he's happy the way things are going for him now. And I know he's happy in his relationship, which I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, he's not with Rachel anymore.
No, he moved back to the East Coast, and I know he's happy with his new girlfriend, which is I'm happy for him. You know, he's a friend.
Good,
but you know,
and I'm happy for him too because I love Ace.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he would ever ask me back, but I don't know why. But I have a feeling he wouldn't.
Okay, but anyway, we're gonna move on because you have a knack for playing with guitar gods. I want to ask you that question.
I'm not even mentioning the other ones. I played with Richard Fortus and Frank Ferrer, who are in Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. I can mention a lot.
And Bumblefoot. I grew up. I used to play in Bumblefoot's basement with his brother on drums, I was probably in the 6th grade or the 7th grade. We'd go to Great Kills, Staten Island, and jam.
And speaking of this, I read somewhere that you played bass in the house band for the St. George Theater.
Yeah.
And you played with the Four Tops, the Temptations, the Spinners.
Yeah.
Really?
Freddie Boom Boom Cannon and
Freddie Cannon.
I was like, I was probably, I think I was really young. I was probably a freshman in high school, if that. And I was
15.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an honor in itself.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Holy cow. I mean, I could never, I looking at you now, I can't picture that. But like I said, I did my research. And that's like, wow, that's an education all in itself.
Yeah.
So all the guitar guards you play with, you wind up with this guy, another one of my favorites, Jakey Lee. He's Red Dragon Cartel.
He's pretty much the best of them all, too. Like, I waited to my 50s to play with the best, you know?
Jakey Lee, bro.
Yeah, I know. He's a motherfucker.
And wait. How about this? You wrote, mixed, and co-produced. Well, actually, Anthony Fox mixed this one, right?
No,
he mixed the first one.
Anthony Fox mixed the Ace record, which pissed
me
off.
The Ace one. I'm sorry. That's what I wanted to mention. I got that mixed up.
Off. I had Michael Barbero mixing it. And the guy who did Appetite.
With Steve Thompson. Steve Thompson and Michael Barbero.
Exactly. I had Steve Thompson mixing it because he lived in Nyack, right over the bridge from Ace. So the roughs were incredible. Anomaly was ripping. Like, it was insane.
It was raw like that.
We had Jay Messina engineering it and Steve Thompson mixing it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden something happened. Ace changed management, and the manager took him to LA, added the fucking stupid cover song, Fox on the Run or whatever the hell, which I was like, no more covers, Ace. I'm like, you're a great writer. Stop with the covers, right? So he went to LA, did Fox on the Run, and then had Anthony Fox mix it. I'm like, you got the guy who did Appetite for Destruction, Tesla, and like all these great sounding rock records. Why are you going to this guy in LA? Like,
Anthony Fox was in Enough's Enough.
No, he was in Beautiful Creatures.
Yeah, but what didn't he play bass in Enough's Enough as well?
Chips Enough's always been the bass player.
Well, he worked with them. He might have worked on an album with them. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
I have to check.
But I thought that the record, the mix on Anomaly sounded very digital, and we recorded it very analog. Like, we recorded it
right, bare bones.
Like it had teeth, it had claws to it. And then when I heard the mixes, I was very disappointed.
Wow. So you wind up Jakey Lee's Red Dragon Cartel on the second album.
With Jake, we co-produced it, right? We co-produced it. I co-engineered it with my son, Tyler. Tyler would do night times with Jake, and I would do daytimes with Darren. The writing, all the music was Jake. I came up with probably 90% of the melodies and 95% of the lyrics. And the other percentage was Jake. It was like pretty much, it was Jake's record, but I was just there to fill the gaps, you know?
Right. I mean, when you find yourself working with Jake, do you just sit back and watch sometimes and say, I can't believe where this guy is getting this stuff from? The licks that he comes up with?
Yeah, I mean, he's so talented. But the thing is, he can't just do a record to do a record. His heart's got to be into it. And once his heart's into it, then he sort of clicks that switch and he's committed to the record, making it the best that he possibly could be. Right. So, but to make that switch click, he's got to come to terms in his mind that he's going to go through the process. And once he accepts the challenge, he's not making a record because we owe one to the label and there's money, and he makes the record because there's something he wants to say or do. And once he commits to that process, then it's all in. And the standard is way up there.
Hey, I got to say this. I seen you guys, and I'm going to give Nikki a plug again in Queens at Blackthorn 51, and that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. There was you guys.
Okay. Yeah, we're good live.
yeah. I mean, I was like, I was one of the shows where I was like, holy fuck, man, Jakey Lee. I was like this. I felt like I was 16 years old during the Ultimate Sin tour again. You know, I was like, couldn't believe it. But this record, anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, Anthony's the bass player on this record, co-produced it, as he said, with Jake. Patina, Red Dragon Cartel. They had a first album. I thought it was okay. This one, I really think you hit your stride. I
had nothing to do with the first album.
Right. Well, here's what I want to say, Anthony, and this is no knock on the first album. What I want to say is I believe this should have been your first album. Patina.
Well, I wasn't involved. And had I been involved, I wouldn't have advised Jake to go the route of all the different lead singers on it.
Who I've had one, and I've also had one of the bass player you've replaced too, on there. I had Chaz West here. I don't know if it wasn't even a tryout. I guess he was just a fill-in because it was always going back to Darren James Smith, right?
He wasn't on the first album. Neither was Greg. The first album had guys like Robin Zander singing a song and
touring.
Yeah. Well, Chaz came out in Audition. That was the summer of the singer.
Yeah, the four guys. Whoever Michael Beck was the other one. That was Greg Chason's. Yeah, that was Greg Chason's singer in Kings of Dust.
Right.
But
then we went back to Darren because Darren was just right for the band, you know.
His voice with Jake's guitar, it sounds perfect. So I hope it still works out. Now I want to tell the fans some of the songs. I mean, you got to check this album out. Patina, it's called. It came out in 2018. We're still waiting for the next one. We don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. Jake seems to take a little bit of time between albums. We'll talk about it in a minute. But the song I posted today, Speed Bag, I mean, you got to be kidding me. That's like, I mean, come on. I said, I got to put Speed Bag up there. That's like fucking, it's like kill it, man. This guy comes up.
Well, he came out with the chorus first. And the chorus is in triplets. And he was like, you know, in Middle Eastern music, they accent the accents on different spots in the frame, in the measure. So he was like, what if we do the triplets? And on the first one, we accent the third hit. And then on the second one, we accent the second hit. And on the third one, we accent the first hit. So it's constantly changing around. And we heard that and it just sounded like a speed bag, you know?
Right.
So we're like, there you go, you know? And
then the video, you got guys, you know, drug use, you know, there's coke in there, and there's guys shooting up. So I guess they wanted the speed element of it.
Yeah. I wrote the lyrics about, it's all about an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Everybody wants
like driving fast or that rush you get right before you're going to be in a fight. Or that rush you get from drugs, you know, speed.
Right. I got you. Yeah. A couple of other songs I want the fans to know about. If you want to you got to check out Crooked Man, Havana, Bitter. I mean, all these songs. I mean, I can go through the whole album. But
those are the 4 videos.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the one. If you want to check them out, those are the 4 videos. You can check those out, and you will not be disappointed with this album. I'm telling you, this album is killer.
We did 2 of those videos, Havana and Speedbag. We did them in my barn in Dillsburg.
Well, we're gonna mention Dillsburg in a minute. We're gonna get to that. So now here's one thing I'm disappointed about. The only thing I'm disappointed about with Patina is Phil Varone, one of my favorite drummers, played on it, and he's retired now. So what's going to happen?
Well, what's
the status? Let me say this. What's the status of Red Dragon Cartel as we speak? Okay. Is there a record deal? Are you still with Frontiers Records? Is there going to be another album? And who's in the band?
Okay, so here's the deal. So we took a year to renegotiate the contract before we made Patina. Then we took a year and a half to make Patina. So that's 2016, 2017. Record came out in 2018.
18.
In November. So we did 25 shows in 2019. And 3 or 4 of them were in Japan. So Jake doesn't feel like we worked that album. We didn't promote it enough. And so he wants to continue touring on that CD to promote that CD. I mean, we took a year and a half to make it, and we only toured a month on it. 25
dates. And I seen one of those.
He wants to work that record more before he goes in and does another one, if he does another one.
Right. Well, that's what I want to ask you. Are you still with Frontiers Records? Is there going to be another album? Can you say that?
We owe Frontiers one more record. We're contracted one more.
Okay, good. So that's good news for the fans. And
well, that doesn't mean that he's going to do it.
So he could just turn around and say, I don't want to. Well, that's Jake. He'll do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, it's his mind. If he flicks that switch and commits to making another record and starts writing licks for it and stuff, then it's all on, Then it's, all systems go.
Right.
But the last thing he told me is that he still wants to tour on Patina before he does another record.
Okay. So you are still the bass
now, because
you don't know what's happening.
No bands want to take us out, right? Nobody wants Jakey Lee to open for them. Like, if you're a guitar player, do you want to have to follow Jakey Lee?
Hell no.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's really hard for us to get taken out by a band. And then, so we're playing places that we can only headline, which aren't very big. They're clubs. And clubs have to be 100% capacity for them to pay us.
Right, the money you want. Yeah.
To cover our bills to go out.
Sure, I understand the business part of it. And now that if they're not at 100% capacity, they can't afford to put you there.
Exactly.
I hear you.
So until this whole thing gets resolved, we can't tour, and Jake doesn't want to record. So
right. So the way we're coming towards the end now, and the way you keep busy nowadays is you move to Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, and you are the owner and proprietor of. Don't show me that shirt. The owner and proprietor of Obscenic Arts Recording Studio. And what is your daily routine? What do you do? I know you had some bands there.
Yeah, I finished up with this great band called Mobile Death Camp, which has one of the ex-members of War in it. That was fun. I did an EP with them. And then
what show of Warrant you said?
What's that?
Ex-member of Warrant?
No, Guar.
Oh, Guar. Okay. Because I know you worked with Warrant.
And the band's called Mobile Death Camp, and they're really good. I did an EP with them that should be out soon. And then I did a record with a rock band from Queens called Rider.
Queens in the house.
And now I'm working with this great band from Connecticut. They're amazing. They're called the War Brothers, and it's 4 brothers, 2 sets of twins, 2 years apart.
How the hell did that happen?
I don't know, but their parents need to be sainted.
Oh my God! 2 sets of twins.
Their parents are like my age, and they raised them right. They raised them on like early Van Halen and early.
Okay.
And like they're honest metal played by 20-somethings. Like they're really great band, and they have those brother harmonies going on. And I mean, like, we did like a Van Halen style cover of the Zombies' Time of the Season. And so we're working on their record now. And then there's another band from Jersey I'm working with called Dogs of Reason. They're more Blackberry Smoke-ish kind of a vibe, Black Crows-ish. Great band, great singer.
Right.
From Jersey. But like, bands come and they stay on my ranch. And they come and they sleep here, and I record them and produce them and help them get better. And it's a process, it's fun.
Awesome. You mentioned a ranch. Is this like a full blown ranch where you have horses?
Yeah, Well, where I live, it's called a ranchette because it's only 10 acres, and I have horses and stuff.
Really? Kid from Staten Island has horses? You got hogs, you got chickens, you got all that stuff?
No, just horses.
Oh, it's just horses. Okay. All right. So, Anthony, listen, it's been a blast. I really got to look forward to that Red Dragon Cartel record. I mean, you know, I know you're not going back with Ace, and you're not going to go do anything with yours.
Well, here's the thing. Patina is a grower, and the more times you listen to it,
not me. That's my favorite.
The more stuff you hear on it, though, like we layered so many great guitars, and there's vocal things happening and weird stuff that the more you listen to it, the more you hear. It's a really great record. Like, I'm really proud of it.
You should be.
It's probably, since Wicked, my favorite record that I did, you know?
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm not picking and choosing. Every record that I love is part of the soundtrack to my life, and I really don't pick favorites. But I thought you would have said Anomaly over that one.
Anomaly was good, but like I said, it got hijacked by the manager and taken to the West Coast.
And I know that story with the manager because I knew the manager before then.
Yeah, and he sort of came in. He was trying to get me fired. Like, he was trying to like get me out of the picture because I was Ace's friend, and I was the one person that Ace would ask his opinion. You know, like Ace would always be like, "What do you think of it? Well, Poppy, what do you think of this?
What do you think of this one? Huh? How's that?"
And like, I think that
want to go for a slice.
Him and one of the band members kind of like ganged up on me, and I just I stuck it out.
Come on, man! You're from Staten Island.
I stuck it out, and then Ace turned around and just was like, "Stop listening to them," and they disappeared.
Yeah. Well, look, Anthony, we all are where we're supposed to be. Remember that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
listen.
Dillsburg.
Exactly. You're in Dillsburg. You got your horses. You got your ranch. You got your cigarettes.
Come on down. I'll produce you.
Yeah. That's good. But I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's great. You're part of the family now. I'm going to send you a text. I want to tell you something. And I really look forward to anything you come up with, hopefully soon. I wish you continued success. I always say this: continued success, health, wealth, and happiness.
Well, thank you so much. And the same to you. The pleasure was all mine. And when we book dates or do a new record, you got to get me and Jake on.
Are you fucking kidding me? Of course, without a doubt, bro. Without a doubt.
I'm easier to get than Jake, though.
Listen, I emailed Jake a couple of times. He don't answer, but I understand why. Let's just say that. And this guy with his fucking Philadelphia Flyers fucking shirt. This guy.
Yeah, you know what? Do you have?
And he's from Staten Island. You believe this guy?
Do you have time for the story of why I'm a Flyer fan?
Yeah, listen, it's my show.
Are you a Ranger fan or an Islander?
I own this.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah, I know. What can I tell you?
You guys beat us in the cup.
I know, of course.
You're not out.
But
the
like I told you,
why I'm not a Ranger fan is because of the Vanderbilt Sassoon commercials that Duguay and those guys did. And I was watching the Bullies, and I'm like, I want to go with those guys.
Guys got no teeth in their mouth. I want to go with those fucking guys.
Ooh la la, no thank you.
Right, ooh la la, Sassoon. Remember that?
Yeah,
well, let me ask you. Don't tell me you like the Yankees.
No. I grew up in New York, right? So the only team that I like that's not a New York team is the Flyers. I'm a Jet fan.
So am I. Good.
I had like season tickets for like 40 years to the Jets.
At least we got a real coach now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Well,
he reminds me a lot of Bulls. It's the same thing. Unproven D coordinator.
Yeah, but Bulls didn't have a personality like he does.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, let's see.
Right. What about baseball? Don't tell me Yankees, please.
Of course, I'm a Yankees fan.
Fucking guy.
I got to balance it out. The Jets always lose and the Yankees always win. So I got to balance.
I can't get a Met fan on my fucking show. I can't get a Met fan on my show.
Because why would you root for the JV team?
Because I'm born and bred in Queens. My whole 46 years, my whole life. I grew up a Met fan. I bleed orange and blue. And they won 2 today. So there you go.
Yeah.
But so Anthony, we can find you at obscenicarts.com. That's the
And I'm on Facebook. I mean, I'm easy to.
And he's on Facebook. Any answers?
Yeah, I do.
So anyway, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Go Flyers.
He's got to end it with that. You know, I got a wicked sensation. I'm going to cut you off right now.
All right.